Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Travel Mole in Conversation with Broadcast. And today we're going to be talking to a man whose company has been doing some research with UK travel agents through Travel Uni, who he represents here in the UK. And that man is Ian Dockeray. He's in Horsham. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning. Good morning, Graham.
How are you doing?
Yep, very well. Had a wonderful weekend. I'm sure
Good.
many people did too.
Yes, well, the shops are open and the sun was out, so that combination is, and some of the pub tables were open, so that's a good combo.
Indeed it was.
Ian, just tell me a little bit about the research you've been doing. I believe it's of your travel agency members here in the UK. How many agents do you research, or what's the extent of your work?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we for your viewers that don't know Travel Uni, we are about 50,000 members in the UK. We did a subsection for the sample itself, which was purely travel agents. Most of our members are travel agents and tour operator staff and the wider industry, but we did a subsection for purely travel agents, and the respondent numbers were nearly 400. So it's a nice representative sample.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And you've come up with some interesting conclusions, or not necessarily conclusions, but some analysis, some pointers.
Yeah.
What region do you think came out best in terms of travel agent inquiries? I mean, people are inquiring about holidays, either for later this year or now probably 2022. Were there any regions that came out on top?
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting. We were supported in the research by PARTA, the Pacific Asia Travel Association, and so we had a little bit more of a breakdown in that region, which was really fascinating. But as you might expect, obviously the UK, the staycation market was, by far the biggest, number in the sample. We asked the question, actually, which are currently your 4 top most requested regions? Which obviously many people took as areas. So yes, UK and Europe, as you may expect, but the vast majority. Obviously, things are still changing there. This, by the way, this research was done in March, so obviously there's been more recent news about certain countries and red lights and all that sort of thing. But yes, overall, PARTA did very, very well because we actually broke it down into a number of sub-regions. So interestingly, the Indian Ocean, as part of that, and East Africa came out well. I think possibly that's because of a big concentration in bookings on islands destinations for obvious reasons. So the likes of, you can imagine the likes of the Maldives doing particularly well at the moment. Seychelles, Mauritius, when that opens up, I think people are favouring those sorts of areas, the island destinations currently. But Southeast Asia was good. I think a lot of the bookings, got to bear in mind, a lot of the bookings are looking well forward. One of the findings was that agents are seeing that things will pick up latter part of this year and then obviously into next year. So a lot of this information is about longer term bookings, which is very helpful.
So this research has really backed up what everybody really thinks.
Well, this is great. Yes, this is there's a lot of hearsay out there in the market, but with this sample we can see these people are at the coalface. They're the ones actually taking the bookings and working day to day on this. And yes, it was fascinating. Obviously, Southeast Asia did very well at 23%, and surprisingly, Australia and New Zealand did appear at about 20%, but that's, I'm sure, because of the anticipation of it opening up next year. I mean, I think that's a lot of the bookings will be, for the longer haul destinations will be into next year. And then obviously there were other very notable areas within the area, just on the edge of the area. The Middle East did very well, as you might expect. Been a lot of bookings to Dubai and the Emirates. So they were at 26% of the bookings. So collectively, the PARTA region did very well overall. The other area that came out very strongly because of the island aspect, as I mentioned earlier, was of course the Caribbean. So the Caribbean came out quite strongly too.
So it's fair to say that the general consensus of opinion is that people they're tending towards in their inquiries places that they would imagine are safe, i.e. Australia, New Zealand have got low COVID figures and have had a pretty much a a closed shop policy for the last 12 months,
Yeah.
and also island localities such as the
Yeah.
Caribbean, but also obviously, as you say, some of those, the Maldives, etc., in the Far East. Did you
Yeah.
get a feel? I spoke to a couple of travel agents late last week,
Yeah.
home working agents, and there was
Yes.
certainly a feel from those two that the pandemic has enabled them to sell higher value holidays and also possibly with higher margins. Do you have any research to back that up?
Well, we do. We didn't actually specifically ask about the value of the bookings, but the sample showed that 60, I think it was 65% of those that actually responded did book luxury travel. So these findings will really be backed up, and because they are luxury bookers as well. Obviously, cruises were high. I think cruise bookings again. Over 50% of our sample indicated that they did actually book cruises. So again, they can be quite high value too. So yes, I would agree. Clearly, one of the really interesting things, which I think is going to be very heartening for the travel agency community, is that we asked about the different things that people that felt was an important part of working with a travel agent. And I think this is really very reassuring, because the things that came out that were really, really important was reassurance and advice ahead of price. So that indicates that people, they're going to want to actually have a really good experience. They're prepared to pay for it, and they really do value what a travel agent can help them with, rather than booking blind onto an online.
So this travel aid, as I would call it, where people are phoning up travel agents and get a feeling of comfort, advice, reassurance that these places that are inquiring about are safe to travel to and what the protocols are, and although that's changing by the day, that could be it. And training obviously would play a big part in that, I would think. So travel agents during these fallow times, swatting up on various destinations is a good thing to do.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, Travel Uni, as you know, is a training based company, and our numbers have increased during lockdown by 34%, which is a massive increase. And the more important thing is that they are doing more and more training. So we've got more actual members of Travel Uni.
Did you get a feel for? Yeah, did you get a feel for the fact that people are inquiring about, I hesitate to use the word exotic, but exotic destinations or once in a lifetime destinations? Not that Thailand and Malaysia are necessarily once in a lifetime. Maldives often is. Australia, New Zealand probably often is. That because we haven't travelled, I haven't travelled for a year, and therefore I'm going to splurge out and spend, do the big one when we come back. Was that the essence of the inquiries?
Yes, that is certainly the impression one gets from the research, that people are, let's face it, they haven't spent any money on travel significantly apart from staycations for over a year. So they've obviously got the budget. I think it's shown across many different sectors of the industry out there at the moment. So they've got the budget. They want to make sure that their next holiday is going to be, absolutely, as you say, holiday of a lifetime. And they want to be reassured that it's going to happen. So they're asking the travel agents that, please, let us know what is the best destination to think about. So, again, the travel agents particularly are able to show that. They've been doing a lot of training. A lot of our training shows clearly what the regulations are. And that's really the information that they need.
And this feeling of comfort, this comfort blanket that physical travel agents, individuals can put over potential clients and tourists, do you think that will mean, and this is probably opinion as opposed to research, that a move back towards a physical travel agency and away from online travel agency for those once in a lifetime holidays is something we will see, and therefore physical travel agents will take the lion's share of these high value, high margin holidays?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, it's very clear from the research. I mean, people are prepared to spend more money, but they want to spend it very wisely, which is obviously very important. So they want the advice, and they've got a lot of choice. Let's face it, coming up. Obviously, not anywhere near the amount of choice they would have had in the past, but they've got a lot of choice because, in the end of the day, there are going to be, the airlines are going to start flying again, and there's going to be a lot of competition throughout the world, really. So people are looking for that very special experience, and they're prepared to pay for it. How long that will last, who knows? But certainly, price was right at the bottom of the list of requirements that people had.
It's interesting because I was on a Pata webinar a couple of weeks ago, and that was one of the things that was coming out from the tour ops as well.
Yes.
That high margin, and also from a responsible and sustainable tourism aspect, it means that people will be spread across the region more. It's all very interesting, all very encouraging, Ian, and thank you very much for your time. It's as I say, most encouraging.
Yep, it's been a great pleasure, and all I can say to the agents out there is keep training. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.